This example is going to look at the mean, and we're also going to look at something called the weighted mean. But for now, we'll start with the mean. So the table shows Tristan's marks for physics. So in homework, he has a 90%. For quizzes, he has a 92%. For projects, he has a 68%. Exams, 75%. And oral presentations, 85%. So what is his average mark for physics? So average is just another word for mean. And to find the mean, we add up all the values and divide by how many there are. So we're going to do 90 plus 62 plus 68 plus 75 plus 85. And then because there are 5 values, we're going to divide them all by 5. And that will give us our average or our mean. When we add them all up, we get 380. And then we divide by 5 and we get 76. So the average mark is 76. Unfortunately, when we do our marks in school, it doesn't work that way. It's not that easy. So homework usually isn't worth as much as a quiz. A quiz usually isn't worth as much as an exam, and so on and so forth. So we do what's called a weighted mean, which means that some numbers have a little bit more value than others. So for example, homework counts as 10% of the final mark. Quizzes count as 20%. Projects count for 15, exams for 50, and oral presentations for 5%. So to do the weighted mean, we have to find that percent of each value, and then we can just add all those numbers up. So if we do homework, we have to find 10% of 90, which would just be 0.1 times 90, which would be 9. So homework has a value of 9 now instead of 90. Quiz, so the quizzes are 20%, so we're going to do 0.20 times, he had a 62 on his quizzes, which would give us a value of 12.4. So quizzes have a value of 12.4. Projects, he had a 68 and they're worth 15%. So we would do 0.15 times 68, which would give us 10.2 for projects. Exams are worth 50%, and he has a 75 on his exams, so we do 0.5 times 75, which would give us a value of 37.5. And finally, I'm going to resize this a little bit. And finally, oral presentations are worth 5%, so 0.05. And he has an 85 in oral presentations for a total of 4.25. So then to find his grade, all I need to do is add up these values. So we would do 9 plus 12.4 plus 10.2 plus 37.5 plus 4.25. And I would get a total of 73.35, which if we're doing marks in school, we would round that to 73%. Okay? So the C part asks, which gives Tristan a higher mark? And obviously, the regular mean gives Tristan a higher mark, gives him a mark of 76. But that's because everything is treated equally. Where with the weighted mean, some of the more difficult tasks, like exams and quizzes, are given a higher value, are worth more in that final mark. So it brought the mark down a little bit because they had a little bit more value. And the D part says, why do you think the teacher chose the weighted mean over the actual mean? So you know, some coursework and some assessments should have a higher value than others because they're more challenging, because they are a better assessment.